down in Houston is the same thing. He's going to have plenty of opportunities with guys on base in front of him. And he came through again in a major, major way. And before we get into this whole controversy around Keith Hernandez,
There's no controversy.
I want to say this.
Yeah.
All of us Met fans were thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone is thinking, man, this is piss poor hitting. And everybody's up in arms about him saying that off of a hot mic. And I'm like, thank God somebody said it, because I know we were all saying it together. My group text chats were going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah.
I don't think anybody's really saying that that's a controversy.
It gets reported by awful announcing and everything else like that. I don't really care, because he said exactly what we were thinking.
Yeah, so, and of course, you're watching a game as I'm watching a game. It's in the commercial break. It comes back. I am just like everybody else who's addicted to their phones. In the commercial breaks, I'm looking at my phone, and then I hear Keith say something, and I'm like, "What?
I heard it straight up,
I was
man.
like, "What?" So I rewind it. It's just clear as day, piss poor hitting. I was like, "Yeah!"
I wanted to send him a text saying, "That's my boy," but you know what? It's great, and it's so true. It's and he's at times he can be so flippant that it's funny and it's entertaining. And when the team was bad all those years,
yeah,
that's what made them so great, is that Ronnie knew how to get either under his skin or knew how to play into him. And that's the beauty of Keith Hernandez. You never know what you're going to get. And I love it. I love him. And I love the fact that Pete Alonso came through again last night. And he's going to have so many opportunities this year, assuming these guys all stay healthy, of course. He's going to have so many. He's not going to come through every single time. I mean, there are going to be times where, we've already seen this, where, they haven't been on base and he'll either strike out or ground out. But this is twice now where guys got on base in front of him in a huge spot, and he came through. And this is what all of us wanted. And I was talking to Fliegelman, who was down in Miami for 2 games.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was. And we were just talking about it. And he was saying how, Juan Soto, for all the Met fans, by the way, you could probably save more money and take your family on a vacation to Miami, go buy tickets to go see the Mets at the Marlins in beautiful weather than you would if you wanted to go to opening day.
True.
So he's down there, and he was saying how, all the fans were jacked up for Juan Soto, all the Met fans were. But he goes, during the game, the guy that got the biggest cheers was Pete Alonso. And I was just saying to him, I said, I think probably the reason for that is that he was drafted by the Mets. He's been cultivated and developed by the Mets. And he's always been a relatively great representative of the franchise.
Yeah, and I also think because of the bad year that he had last year, and then, of course, the huge moment in Milwaukee. But the fan they never abandoned him. The Mets fan never abandoned him. They always wanted to know, hey, we still got your back. We still wanted you here. We still love the fact that you're here. We wish it was a long-term deal. They just and they love him like they love David Wright and when Darryl Strawberry was here and hitting all the home runs before he went to LA.
Like a lesser known person or player would be Wilbur Flores.
Well, yeah, and he had that one sort of moment that thrust him into that whole stratosphere because he was crying because he didn't want to leave the organization, which endeared him to the fan base. But yeah, I'm not surprised at that at all. The thing I am surprised at, and I'm sort of just as watching the games, when certain guys get up to the plate, you either got confidence in them or you don't. Last year was almost an entire year I had zero confidence in Pete Alonso, and just the way he looks at the plate and fouling pitches off, going the opposite way. Obviously hits this bomb to center field yesterday. He just looks so much more confident and in control at the plate early on this year than he looked all of last year, and that to me is the best part of this. Now, it's a catch-22 because if he does have the year that he's capable of behind Juan Soto and keeps this up, he's gone. Like all the Met fans are cheering for him.
Doesn't matter. I mean, I'm in the now right now. I wanted him on the team, and I wanted him on the team for this specific reason. And I wanted him to be able to show Met fans that he can come through like he did in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
I mean, like he had a horrendous year. We know that. And he has every incentive to play great this year and to have a big year. And again, we're still early, but this is what I envisioned. I think this is what all Met fans envisioned, was just having an opportunity to come through in big moments. And he's done it twice now in 2 big spots. And one was a grand slam, and this is a 3-run homer to tie the game. So I'm just, I don't want to sound giddy, but I'm happy to see what I'm seeing from this group of guys and the way they're just trying to figure it all out. It's been a little bit of a choppy start to their 5-game season, or 6-game season. It's been all over the place. and there's a little bit of poor fielding. Better pitching than we thought. Clutch hitting has come through from time to time, and they come home with a winning record. It's a winning record, right?
No, they're 3-3. Yeah, 500, 3-3.
So they come home, but they needed to win the game. They needed to win the series, and hopefully Friday the weather cooperates. I don't know if it will or not. It looks like the weekend's not going to be great, but this is always a reminder because we always talk about how the weather has changed. Well, not so much, not yet.
No, it's certainly the spring is just, for lack of a better term, putting the tip in. It's not. It's kind of just messing with us. It's not really going for the full pour right now. So we need to get there. We need to get to the 60 degrees every single day. So think about the difference between Pete Alonso striking out in that situation, the Mets losing 4-1, and then coming home for opening day on Friday, as opposed to him tying the game and then winning in extra innings. And by the way, they could have very easily lost in extra innings too. They got first and third, nobody out. They don't score in the 10th, and then they have to make, more miracle plays and gun down another runner at home to get out of the bottom of the 10th.
And they actually won a challenge.
Yeah, right.
Which is amazing.
And Luis Torrens, obviously we want Francisco Alvarez back, and he can be dynamic offensively when he's on. But Luis Torrens defensively has been a clinic out there to start the season. And the one they're showing now, obviously, was, Lindor, perfect throw. But the one previous to that where they won the challenge, bad throw by Beatty. Torrens does this, miracle turnaround, make the tag before he touches the plate. And he's been throwing guys out at second. He's been working great with this staff. He's been invaluable in the first 6 games for this team.
No, without question. And he's also had some big hits. Yeah. So that's the other thing. And, you don't expect it to continue, but the defense can continue. That will not go away anytime soon. That's just part and parcel to who he is as a catcher. So it's one of those things that you don't realize it until he gets involved, or he throws some people out, or he makes a play like he did yesterday with the tag. That's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the backup catcher and the defensive stalwart and a guy that can handle the pitching staff. And he is delivering on everything. And that's good news for the Mets, because it shows you that they do have depth.
Yeah. And Keith obviously gets all the attention for the piss poor hitting comment, but he was on, and I like when he identifies guys and the issues that they're having, and they're a little bit off. And he was making those comments late in the game about Lindor and Soto, how they're just a little bit off. And Lindor is like, his front shoulders flying out a little bit. He's making these types of analysis with these guys. And Francisco Lindor, sure, he gets a hit yesterday, but he's still completely he's just lost. He's not himself. It's another beginning of the season where he's not himself. He'll get there, but it's just fascinating to me that he never gets off to a good start. I'm not worried about him, but I am starting to worry about Mark Vientos a little bit, because he has been miserable.
Yes.
Defensively, offensively, he looks nothing like the confident superstar in the making he was last year. So it's just, it's early, and I still believe in him, but man, oh man,
don't give up yet. It's only 6 games.
I'm not giving up, but this has been really bad.
Left. They got 156 games.
This has been really bad for him, man.
Well,
you don't want it to snowball,
You know what? They're all going to go through it, man. They're all going to go through it at some point in time, just like the basketball players go through the shooting woes, just like the hockey players can't score goals. Just like the quarterbacks can't throw touchdown passes. It happens.
Yeah, I just think it's a little bit different when a guy breaks out and then the expectations are high for him to do it for a full season. Then he comes out in the first 6 games and looks nothing like the guy that you were expecting. But, because he hasn't done it consistently. It's not one of those things where you could go like, hey, he's like Lindor. It's the exact opposite of that. I know Lindor's going to be fine. This is what he does every single year. But with Vientos, and the reason I bring it up in the concern early when I know there's so many games left is like the whole basis of me thinking that the Mets were going to win the division
was based around young players, coming on and being the player that you saw last year.
That being the X factor in the whole thing, like Vientos being the X factor in that lineup, and Luis Angel Acuna turning into a young star for them. Like that, those were the things that I was like, that's going to put them over the top. So they need to get that. If they're going to end up challenging the Dodgers at any point, they're going to need Mark Vientos to be the guy that with the sunglasses in the playoffs hitting dingers.
Throw the ball.
I was miserable. I know, it was bad. I know. Well, that's what happens.
They were down in Miami. They're probably enjoying a little free time and hanging out a little bit.
I don't know.
I don't know. Listen, you had two young guys, Beatty and Vientos, try to throw the ball at home plate. Did they practice those throws or no?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't you remember when you were holding a book for Neil Heaton? Didn't you guys do infield fungo drills and guys were throwing the ball at home?
Yes. Well, actually, I was very involved after I had dislocated my shoulder in the fungo drill because what I would do would be, I'd get the ball, I'd catch the ball because it was my right shoulder. I'd catch the ball with my glove hand and I'd flip it back to him with the glove.
So
and
you were like you were the catcher.
Yeah,
you were essentially standing where the catcher would stand.
Yeah, but I had a sling on, and I was able to catch it and flip with the glove.
But this is why every infielder who's throwing the ball to home plate should never take that throw for granted.
Yeah,
they should practice it like they're doing it in a game, like when they catch the ball and they throw it back into the guy who's hitting the fungos.
Yeah,
turn around and rip it and throw it where you need to throw it. If if the catcher was standing there.
Yeah, of course, man.
And so, I don't know what the hell this was. I mean. The defense, come on, Carlos. Let's go.
Yeah, Mendoza, Mendy.
Let's get it going, man. Let's get these guys a little bit sharper on the field. Let's step it up a notch.
Yeah, right. Especially when you're talking about,
they
those
look like the Yankees.
The Yankees in the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the Yankees haven't been, sloppy so far this year, except for the play, of course, with the pitcher and first baseman, which no matter who is out there, apparently they just don't do that well. But they've been a little bit better defensively early on. You reminded me of a moment when you said the throwing a home and the catcher and Neil Heaton.
Lucas Duda?
What's that?
Did I remind you of Lucas Duda in 2015?
No, you didn't. No,
okay.
One of the most traumatizing moments I had out on a field was our catcher, Jeremy Molina.
Okay.
He's standing there, ball's coming in from...
Jeremy Molina?
Yeah, I know.
Part of the Molina family?
He was basically looked like one of them. He was the exact height they were. He was just, he could have been the long-lost brother, but he was perfect catcher. So he's waiting for the throw, coming in from right field, cut off first base, and he's standing... And the runner from third on the other team, he doesn't slide into home. He just blocks his view for just a split second.
Kind of like a goaltender.
Yeah, and the ball hits him directly in the mouth. Like, you could not.
What a throw.
You could not have timed that any worse. And then I'm sitting there, I'm playing third base, I'm watching this. It hits him right in the face, and he just goes, and every one of his teeth spit out of his mouth. And we're out there on the, I mean, you're laughing, but like we're out there picking up his teeth in the infield.
I've seen all that stuff.
And he goes to the hospital, we're delivering his teeth there so they can put him back in his face. I mean, that was crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's baseball, baby.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. That guy was tough, man. He was right back out there, So they put those teeth back in his head, he was right back.
Exactly. This guy loved baseball, man.
Damn
Get
right.
out there and do your thing.
Yeah, damn right.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I love how you were laughing.
Look, I've seen it all, man.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, I played hockey last 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. I saw a guy just go face plant and stuck in the ice, like with his face in the ice and his ass in the air. Like he was waiting for something. And
he was waiting.
and he's laying there.
Yeah.
It's bleach butt.
Oh, that he was doing that?
Yeah. And I said, look, and everybody's, rushing over there and everything, and he's laying face first. And I said, well, guys, if he needs some ice, he's laying on it, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Just give him a minute, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And of course, he got up, and and we all had to, tap our sticks against the boards, and he comes and sits on the bench. And then we scored the next goal, and now we're saying we're doing it for bleach butt.
Bleach butt. Yeah.
And he's like getting more into the game, and then all of a sudden he comes back out onto the ice.
Oh, wow.
And this is like
Willis
a
Reed
miracle
spot,
moment.
yeah.
It's like a Willis Reed miracle moment.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he scores a goal after
wow.
actually blocking a puck in the defensive zone and goes down and scores.
What a gamer.
That's the kind of guy that I need on my team.
That's right.
A little bit over dramatic. I understand that.
Gets the job done in the end.
Right. And then he said his fingers were tingling or something. I'm like, whatever. Come on. You're like 50 years old. Relax.
You'll be fine. You will be fine.
Jesus.